Hello, well today I'd like to talk to you about Airbase, which is 2008 square brackets, one weekly law reports at page 1516. Why is this case important? Well, it is particularly important because it involves a judgment of Mr. Justice Patton in relation to the interpretation of section 176A of the Insolvency Act 1986 as amended. And that's an important provision because, as you know, it helps us think about the waterfall of distribution amongst various creditors, and in particular court report attempts to alleviate the plight of unsecured creditors and any apathy they might have by causing what we now call, pursuant to 176A, the prescribed part. But of course what Cork would have called, or did call I should say, the 10% fund. So this is a very important provision for us to think about how unsecured creditors will be encouraged to participate in any liquidation, because they will hopefully, pursuant to the prescribed part, obtain some value from this estate and therefore be encouraged to participate in the liquidation. And the problem that came to the fore in Airbase that Mr. Justice Patton had to consider was whether or not floating charge security holders could participate in that prescribed part fund, that bit that was set aside as a consequence of the Crown HMRC causing themselves to be taken out of the preferential status and being put into unsecured creditor status, and the freeing up of value between 70 and 110 million, depending on who you read, that could then be diverted to this prescribed part. Could unsecureds, or should unsecureds, also have to participate with the residue of floating charge holder exposure that hadn't been placated by the value that had trickled down the waterfall to the floating charge point? So Mr. Justice Patton looks at this area because if he allows those floating charge holders to participate, the unsecureds will get 4.08 pence in the pound. If he doesn't allow, so it's just unsecureds, they get 15.56 pence in the pound. Well, as unsecured creditors, you may be relieved to hear that that value, that pot, was only capable of being used by the unsecureds. So the floating charge holders couldn't also have a go at the trough after they'd already participated higher up the waterfall. Meaning then that that higher value of 15.56 pence in the pound was that which would go to unsecureds. So Airbase is a really important case. Adrian Walters, in an excellent article, has critiqued the decision, so do have a look at that, as well as the decision itself in the weeklies. And it's important because, of course, it bolsters unsecured creditors' activity and participation in our insolvency system by causing that prescribed part to be safeguarded for their benefit. So that's Airbase, and from here I bid you goodbye. Goodbye.